Life is an amazing podcast, and it is presented and hosted by myself, Caro, and my sweet dog Sparky. Give it up for him. I hope you're ready. Enjoy. Hello, dear peoples. So we're back with another episode from A Go for Your Life, and I am connected now from Amsterdam to Africa. Amsterdam to Africa. To speak to Jay Mack. Hello, Jay.
Goeiemorgen from Africa.
Hey, you know you're Dutch. You know you're Dutch.
Well, it's Afrikaans, yeah, but it's a version.
Hey, so where in Africa are you?
I'm in Cape Town, South Africa. I'm coming at you live from the Kind Kitchen in Cape Town.
It looks really cool, actually. I'm gonna share a photo of this cool picture of you. You still in your whole kitchen outfit.
My office.
That's it. Yeah, the kitchen is a nice office. It's a nice office to be. It's a nice office. And so, how long have you been open now with the Kind Kitchen?
So we've been operating since 2018, February 2018. I started doing what I'm doing now from my house as on Uber Eats. And that progressed into a physical cafe in a very cool little part of Cape Town called Woodstock.
Another Woodstock.
So, being a Jivamukti, both of us, we both know the relevance of Woodstock. It's pretty awesome.
Yeah, that's so nice. That's so nice. So is it still, do you still feel the same way of making your food as you did when it was tiny and it was Uber Eats and, like when it was operating from your house, or has a lot changed?
Yeah, it's a good question, Cara. I think a lot has changed. My skills have developed a lot more because they've had to. But yes, I think in a nutshell, I definitely still love what I'm doing here. Some days are better than others. We all get that. It doesn't matter what career you're in, you're going to have good and bad days. But I still love what I do. I wouldn't want to do anything else. During COVID-19, there's been a few times where it's been very tough. And that's been this way for everybody around the world, not just us here in Africa. Everybody's going through it. There's been times where I thought, damn, if I have to pack this in, what am I going to do? And I couldn't think of anything else better to do what I'm doing. I still enjoy this. So, it's pretty much the same, just on a bigger scale now. Yeah,
and then you also know that you're in the right place to be, right? When I can't really think of anything else or anywhere else I want to be. You're right where you need to be, I guess, But because you did tell me, I think we spoke earlier, and you were mentioning something about, did you have a second location you unfortunately had to close because of COVID?
Yeah, unfortunately. So where we're talking from right now is Woodstock, and this is in the city. So we got that vibe going. But we had another place in the Winelands, beautiful area in Constantia, which could seat up to 60 people. This place only seats 20, so way bigger in Constantia. And, it was more a weekend trade. Families would come. Lots of people that aren't necessarily vegan would come, and because there was maybe not many options to eat at the wine farm, they would come and try a Beyond Burger at our location, and they would love it, So unfortunately, we lost that location just because of COVID. I had to consolidate back to Woodstock and just go, okay, what are we doing? How are we going to survive this tragic pandemic that we're all in? And just because unfortunately I lost a lot of staff. It happens everywhere in the world, but we had a lot of staff from different countries in Africa that worked for me. And they found it more and more difficult because of various reasons, but they couldn't get insurance from the government to stay. So they had to go back to their country. So I lost a lot of good staff members. So consolidated to Woodstock, and unfortunately that had to happen, but we're okay. We're here, and things are looking up. Things are getting a bit better. I'm starting to see more people coming to sit and eat again. We've been operating as a deli since the beginning of lockdown. So I was delivering to people's homes myself, cook the food, then go deliver, because I couldn't rely on any drivers. There was no one really. So I had to do what I had to do, Everyone's had to go through that. So
Yeah, it's a crazy time, I think, for many people. And Do you feel like, when you were making that decision, like, do you feel like you made that overnight, or was it a long period of thinking like, man, I really have to close, or should I close, or how was that process for you?
Yeah, lots of sleepless nights, lots of yoga practices, going through my asana, just going, this is going to be okay, just let it go, going through the whole process that we've been taught as Jivamukti students, or just as yoga students, to like how to be okay in times that are tough. And yeah, it was a very difficult situation. It took maybe 6 weeks of contemplating what to do until finally I made the decision to say, okay, enough's enough. I'm going to let that one go, and surely something else will come from this. And I was fortunate because I had 2 locations. There's a lot of people that only had 1 location and had to let it go, so that's their livelihood gone. So
yeah.
Still counting my blessings that this worked out for me. I still have 4 staff members out of 16. So we had to let go of 8 people.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's
Yeah.
just crazy. Yeah. And do you feel like because I have been in Africa a very long time ago, and I'd love to come and see to the kitchen anytime soon. Yes, I so want to come. But what is the scene like in Africa for, like, are you pretty much the only vegan place, or like what's happening?
Okay. Yeah, so good question again. Cape Town is pretty much the epicenter, I would say, of veganism in South Africa. Joburg is close behind. I come from Joburg. That's where I grew up. But Cape Town, there are at least, just before lockdown, there were close to 10 full-service vegan restaurants. But now there's probably only about 5. So there's half, which is very unfortunate. So we're one of 5 still operating, and which is great. The competition is good. We do have a good connection to the other restaurants, of course, because we're all in this together. So we do talk regularly. Of course, we're a competition, but we do talk. So, we support each other where we can. So Joburg is a lot smaller from a vegan point of view, but here in Africa, I would say South Africa is the epicenter of veganism still in Africa. I think, countries like Nigeria and Zambia, the bigger African countries, are close by. They're starting to build. But South Africa, Botswana has a good following as well. But South Africa is definitely the leader in veganism, plant-based, for sure.
That's really cool. And I think we were talking about this last time we chatted, and it really got to me in the sense that I really thought about it a lot afterwards when we were talking, because you traveled a lot and you've seen a lot of other places, and I was wondering, I want to ask you this question. I already know what you're going to say, but I want you to tell us again. About the African culture as well, and because you were mentioning something about the African culture even towards meat, and that people kind of they slaughter animals kind of on the street and stuff, like that's part of the culture. Tell us a little bit about that.
So being South African, white South African, we make up probably about 5% of the population here in South Africa. Then the rest of the population is made up of the Zulu and Xhosa population. Those are the 2 big ones. There's basically 11 official languages and tribes in South Africa. So those 2 tribes, part of their heritage and their culture, especially when it comes time for celebration, like a wedding, a big celebration, meat plays a massive part in their celebrations, right? It is seen as one of the greatest things that you can do when you get married, to have meat on your plate. It's seen as wealth. It's seen as prosperity. And what would happen is you would go to a big wedding, they're large. When the Zulus or the Xhosas have a wedding, it's a large celebration. And a lot of the times, very similar to the Hindus, it will last a long time, maybe 2 days, 3 days sometimes. So you would be at a ceremony and they would actually, the men would bring the cow in and slaughter the cow as part of their manhood, you know, becoming a man. That's one of the things of killing the cow as well. You become a man that day when you kill your first bull, or which is, from our point of view, very difficult, right? Because that's not something we want to partake in at all. A very interesting generational and also cultural difference between my upbringing, which is what we did not do at all.
Yeah.
You know, you went to the supermarket and you bought, you know, growing up, I obviously still ate meat, like most of us do, and you would go to the supermarket and buy your meat. But growing up in the rural areas, most South Africans, that's how they get their meat. You know, they still slaughter their own animals. They still look after their own animals. They're still a herdsman. Part of their heritage is still very much that. You're connected very closely to the animal. I guess very close to the Indian culture as well, you know. Yeah, so it's not far removed from that. So it's a very difficult change for culturally for a lot of South Africans of color to make that jump, that leap. But having said that, many of my staff that work for me, I have two Xhosa staff that work for me, and one isiSotho and one Zulu staff member. And they all mainly will eat a plant-based diet without even calling it that. You know, that's just how they were brought up, eating a lot of rice, beans, spinach. So that's just a staple in their cultural, the way that they were brought up. So eating meat is a very rare occasion unless you have the money to do it.
Yeah, exactly. And do you feel like, do you get a lot of questions from people coming up, or even discussions with people in your place, the kind kitchen?
Yeah.
And then you have to remind yourself, I'm called the kind kitchen. Like, let's have a kind conversation.
Well, you know, it's really great when we do have people that, carnists that come to the cafe and they, you know, they want to try something, or they just, a lot of the times they stumble into the cafe because maybe they were expecting to go to the restaurant above us that serves meat and they're maybe not open. So they'll stumble into our restaurant first and they look at the menu and they see it's quite interesting and they start a conversation with us and ask about it. And then I've had many times where a lot of people, 90% of the time, people will stay and not humor you, but they will definitely want to try it just because you're speaking from a place of realness and authenticity, that someone goes, well, this is very interesting. Let me try it. I've heard a lot about this. I've heard maybe a lot about a Beyond Burger, or I've heard a lot about beans done in a taco or a burrito. So let me try it. You know, I've heard about this thing called kale. Maybe someone's tasted it.
What the hell is that?
Yeah, maybe they've tasted it before and it's so chewy or dry, it wasn't prepared well. So, but maybe, so they come in, they try, and the best conversations I've had is with people that still eat meat and they're very interested in it, and then they are wowed by how the flavors are so good. But of course they're good because it's a vegetable, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Naturally, vegetables taste good. It's only if you overcook a vegetable that it tastes not bad, but it's not great. So, yeah, those are the best conversations.
It's amazing, right? Because you are really pioneering, you are also really, you know, game changing there, you know, by just existing.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's an interesting term that you brought up there, the game changing. You know, since that documentary came out, we've had so many of these big, strong, burly men walk into the cafe and go, hey, I've heard a lot about black bean burrito.
Yeah.
Do you serve a black bean burrito? And yes, you know, we serve a black bean burrito.
Yes, we do.